Right now, there is a box in your basement that went down the stairs and never came back up. You carried it down there yourself. Just for now, you told yourself. Just until you had time to deal with it. That was months ago. Maybe years. And here's the strange thing about a basement, or an attic, or the far back of the garage. Everything in your house has a current, and it only runs one way. Things go down, they go under, they go back, and then they stay. The mail comes back up. The laundry comes back up. But the box never climbs those stairs again. So why does the basement collect everything and quietly refuse to give any of it back? And if that sounds like your basement, this isn't a sign that you're a messy person or that you're missing some discipline everyone else was born with. For nearly 100 years, psychologists and behavioral scientists have been circling something almost eerie about that room downstairs, that it fills itself slowly, invisibly, in home after home, for reasons that have nothing to do with laziness and everything to do with how your mind is built. The basement isn't where your willpower failed. It's where 3 of the deepest instincts you have quietly agreed to hide the evidence. And once you can see them, you'll understand exactly why that box is still down there. So picture what's actually down there, not the neat labeled things, the drift, the holiday decorations that live in the dark, 11 months out of 12, the artificial tree in its crushed box, an old couch that's still good that no room upstairs will take, boxes from a move you finished years ago, still taped shut, a crib, a treadmill you hang laundry on, paint for walls that are already a different color, and the pile you don't even have a name for, the someday pile. Someday I'll sort it, someday I'll sell it, someday I'll need it. None of it belongs together. All of it lives together, in the dark, under your feet. And the reason it goes down there and never comes back up changes everything you think you know about how you put things off, what you cannot let go of, and the one room in your home you never really see. Let's start with why it goes down in the first place. Because carrying that box downstairs does something to your mind that throwing it away never could. Back in 1927, a young psychologist named Bluma Zeigernik at the University of Berlin noticed something about unfinished business. An unfinished task will not leave you alone. It stays open in the mind, humming quietly in the background, tugging for attention, waiting to be closed. You know the feeling. The thing you keep meaning to handle, that keeps surfacing at red lights and at 2 a.m. That old couch, that box, that pile, each one is an open loop, a decision you started and never finished. Keep it or let it go, and an open loop is uncomfortable. Your mind wants it closed. Now here's where it turns strange. In 2011, 2 psychologists, E.J. Masacampo and Roy Baumeister at Florida State University, published a study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, and they found that you don't actually have to finish a task to make it stop nagging you. You only have to feel like you've dealt with it. Make a plan for it, even just decide when and how you'll handle it, and the mind goes quiet as though the thing were already done. So think about what your body does when you carry that box down the stairs. You haven't decided anything. The couch is still undecided. The pile is still a pile. But you did something. You handled it. You moved it. And your mind gratefully files it as dealt with and lets the loop fall silent. Out of sight, out of mind isn't just a saying. It's a mechanism. The basement is where you send a decision to feel finished, without ever making it. But that only explains why things go down. It doesn't explain the stranger half, why nothing ever comes back up. Because eventually you do go down there, for the ornaments or the suitcase, and you stand in the middle of all of it and think, I should really deal with this. So you pick something up. The old blender, the jacket 2 sizes gone, and you know, you'll never use it, and you set it back down. Why? In 1988, a researcher named Russell Belk, writing in the Journal of Consumer Research, described something he called the extended self. His idea was simple and a little unsettling. The things we own stop being just things. Over time, they become part of who we are, proof of where we've been, who we used to be, the person we once meant to become. That box isn't old clothes and a broken lamp. It's the year you moved, the hobby you started and dropped, a whole version of you folded up and taped shut, So when you pick up that old blender, your mind isn't doing the sensible math. Do I use this? Yes or no? It's feeling something else. This is a piece of me. And letting it go doesn't register as clearing space. It registers as erasing a little of your own story. A small ache. And then the 4 most expensive words in your whole house arrive right on cue. What if I need it? So you set it back down. Not because you're sentimental about a blender, because to your mind that object isn't clutter. It's a fragment of who you are, and no one throws themselves away one box at a time. Every object down there is quietly holding a version of you. The stuff doesn't come back up the stairs, because to your mind carrying it up to get rid of it isn't cleaning. It's losing a piece of yourself, one box at a time. So things go down as decisions you never finished, and stay because letting go feels like loss. But there's one more question underneath both of them. Why there? Why does the house have a downstairs at all? A place where your standards go to disappear. For most of history, it didn't.
100 years ago, that cellar had a job. Before refrigerators, before central heat, the space under the house was cold storage, the root cellar, where potatoes and jars of preserves waited out the winter just above freezing. It earned its keep. Then the electric refrigerator arrived. Central heating arrived, and within a generation the cellar lost the only purpose it had ever had. What was left was a cold, dark, finished room under your feet, with nothing to do. And clutter, like nature, hates an empty room. But it's deeper than an accident of architecture. In 1959, a sociologist named Irving Goffman published a book called The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life, and he described something you do every day without noticing. Your home has a front stage and a back stage. The front stage is the part you perform. The living room you tidy when guests are coming. The entryway, the rooms other people are allowed to see. The backstage is everywhere the audience never goes, and the one defining feature of the backstage, Goffman said, is simply that outsiders are shut out of it, and nothing on this earth is more backstage than your basement. No guest is ever shown the basement, which makes it the one region of your home your standards never have to reach. The living room gets cleaned because it's seen. The basement collects everything, precisely because it isn't. And when researchers actually went looking, they found the very same instinct one door over, in the garage. A team of archaeologists and anthropologists at UCLA spent years inside ordinary American homes and found that in 75% of them, the family could no longer fit a car in their own garage. The space had been swallowed by boxes and bins of mostly forgotten things. Basement, garage, attic, the below, the around, the above. Every house keeps a region for its dead storage. And here's how you know it's a bottomless instinct and not a space problem. When the basement fills, we don't stop. We rent another one. More than 1 in 8 American households now pays, every single month, for a storage unit across town, a second basement with a lock on it. There is now more than 2 billion square feet of self-storage in this country, most of it sitting in the dark. We didn't run out of room. We ran out of sight, and we will always find more darkness to fill. So stand at the top of those stairs one more time and look down. We call it the basement, and we treat it like proof that we own too much. Like if we were only a little more disciplined, it wouldn't be like this. But what if the basement was never a storage problem at all? What if it fills because your mind will trade a real decision for the feeling of having handled it? Because letting anything go registers as a loss you're wired to avoid. And because it's the one room no one ever sees. So it's the one room you never have to answer for. What if the most neglected room in your house is actually the most honest map of how you think? If that just made you look at your own basement stairs a little differently, that's this whole channel. Subscribe and stay with me, because there is a way to turn that room back around, and it starts with understanding what actually went wrong down there. Here's the good news. The fix is not to haul it all to the curb. Your mind will fight you the whole way, and honestly, some of it you really will want. Again, come December. And the fix is not to finally get disciplined. You cannot out-discipline 3 of the oldest instincts you own. The fix is quieter than that, because look closely at what actually makes a basement feel like a basement. It isn't the amount of stuff. It's that nothing down there has a place or a name. It's all just down there, in a heap, in sealed boxes you can't see into, stacked on the damp floor, touching. So the whole room reads as one giant unfinished decision, which is exactly why you keep avoiding it. So you do the opposite of a heap. You give the room walls and eyes. You put shelves on the bare walls so everything goes up, off the floor, where you can see it. And instead of anonymous brown cardboard, you use clear labeled bins so you can see at a glance exactly what's inside and read what it is. That's the quiet trick. A clear labeled bin isn't storage. It's a closed loop. The decision is already made. Christmas. Camping. Kids outgrown. The open questions become a sorted little archive. The holiday things in one place, the keepsakes in another, the real junk finally named as junk and let go. Nothing has to disappear. It just has to be seen and given a place. There are simple shelving systems and clear labeled bins made for exactly this, and I'll leave some below. But the principle matters more than any product. The basement was never full because you kept too much. It was full because nothing down there was ever allowed to have a home. So this weekend, you'll go down those stairs again. But this time, notice something. The current runs both ways now. The tree has a labeled home. It comes up in December and goes back down in January, on purpose, both directions. The keepsakes have a shelf with their name on it. And that box, the one you carried down all those months ago, just for now, you can finally read what's written on the side of it and decide. Keep it on a shelf where it belongs, or carry it up and let it go. Either way, for the first time, it moves, because the basement was never a place things went to die. It was just the one room in your home where nobody was watching, where your mind sent every decision it wasn't ready to make, and quietly hoped you'd forget. You don't have to forget anymore. It was never really about the basement. It was about 100 small decisions, sitting in the dark, waiting for you to come down and turn on the light. And most of us never even knew they were down there.